Hello, folks. Welcome back to the Bibs Corner podcast. If you're a new listener, then you missed my recaps in the bubble, and I'll kind of run down real quickly the format for this podcast, these recap podcasts. So I'm going to start with a cold open where I just kind of give you some raw thoughts on what I saw. We'll take a quick break, and then I'll go through the box score player by player with some with the stats, and of course anything that stood out to me. Take another break. I'm going to answer some questions, and then I've got some new segments based on some suggestions that I got that we'll run through, and when we get there, I'll let you know, of course. Let's get to it. So, first of all, the new guys look good. Nate Hinton, Josh Richardson, Josh Green, all stood out for sure. I think Richardson is going to be a great compliment to Luka. His ball handling and being able to run the offense and allow Luka some time off ball is going to be good for him and good for us, I should say. He was looking good on his shot today. Like the release is good. I think people were looking at his 3-point percentage and worrying that potentially he's not a good enough shooter there. And I mean, the Luka effect is not meaning necessarily that Luka has to be feeding him those passes. It's just when Luka's on the floor, he draws 2 and 3 defenders. You swing the ball around and somebody's going to get open. And when you're open, you just have to hit your shots. And again, Richardson looks like a competent shooter. I could see him easily getting close to that 40% from 3 this year, which is going to be huge for us. Josh Green, dripping with potential and talent. He was a guy I didn't really watch in college. I took scouting off this past year, so I knew what he looked like. I'd seen him on. I just got distracted by a tweet I just saw. But I saw highlights of him. I knew what his game consisted of. I saw him in international play, but he just looks like an exciting piece. If we weren't a team that's trying to contend this year, he would look beautiful beside Luka. But as a team that's trying to contend, I am perfectly fine with him coming off the bench and finding his way as the season goes along. And then, of course, Nate Hinton. I told y'all about Nate Hinton. I told y'all. He came out of the gates strong. I don't want to say he didn't look like a rookie. Obviously, he looked like a rookie. But the confidence was there. He knows who he is. He did what he does. So we'll get into that a little bit deeper later. Key bench guys showed up. My boy Maxi was back. Bubble Maxi stayed in the bubble. Brunson was back. Glad to see him healthy. And then Trey Burke. Again, Bubble Burke did come with him, and that's a good thing. But most importantly, folks, Mavs basketball is back. And we have plenty of reasons to be excited about this season. I saw a lot of people telling people to calm down. It's just a preseason and stuff like that. But man, basketball is back. We're going to overreact. We're going to be hyped. Just let us have it this night, all right? A lot of the exaggeration was not serious, so let's relax just a little bit on telling people to calm down. Real quick, I do want to thank everybody who completed the survey that is currently in my pinned tweet. And that is a hint that it is still there. If you want to go and give me some feedback on the podcast, there are some changes based on that feedback already that you'll see it later in the pod. But again, that link is still there. It takes you probably a minute or two to run through it. 10 questions, 8 of them are multiple choice. So head over to that link, give me some feedback. I do appreciate it if you do. Anybody who has left me a review on Apple Podcasts, thank you. They're slowly trickling up. I need that in my life. And you also may have noticed the name of the podcast on the streaming services is now Bibs Corner Sports. I am splitting out the sports and the film. It was starting to get a little messy for me, and so I am going to be splitting those out. It will be 2 separate podcasts. I was thinking about doing it as of January, but why wait? What else? I also changed the logo. So a lot of positive feedback on the logo. Everybody seems to like it, so I'm glad I made that move. Just ready to turn over a new chapter, start really going hard with this podcast thing and the website, and start really taking it seriously. It started out just something to do to get my thoughts off and has quickly turned into much more. So thank you all for listening, sharing, putting your friends on, whatever you're doing. I greatly appreciate it. But y'all didn't come here for that. Y'all came here for to hear me talk, I should say, about Mavs basketball. So let's take a quick break, and then we'll get straight into those box scores. All right, folks, welcome back yet again to the Bibbs Corner podcast. I am your host, as always, Mike Bibbins. That's on Twitter at Bibbs Corner. And this is episode 9 of season 2. And we're talking about the Mavs' first preseason game, a matchup in Milwaukee against Giannis Antetokounmpo and the Bucks. We learned some things tonight that may or may not mean something long-term. I think there are some long-term takeaways. First of all, the starting lineup tonight was Luka, Tim Hardaway Jr., Josh Richardson, Dorian Finney-Smith, and Dwight Powell. Now, before we get into how these players fared in their time on the court, let me first say that I am very glad to see Dwight Powell on a basketball court looking like Dwight Powell. If you saw the injury, if you know the type of injury, it's not easy to come back from. A guy whose game is, I'm not going to say 100% predicated on his athletic ability, his cerebral, his mentality, his mind, his brain, his IQ is also a big part of it. But without the athleticism that he has, he's a much, much, much less useful player. And so I think he looked like himself tonight. We didn't get to see him explode for a dunk or anything like that, so we don't know if he has the same bounce. But again, he was moving well, and I'm very glad. I just want to give him a quick round of applause. And the doctors and everybody else, I was glad to see him look like himself out there. That was beautiful. So with that established, leading scorer in the starting unit, of course, was none other than Luka Doncic. He had 13 points, 2 boards, and 4 assists. By the way, all the starters played 16 minutes and 20 seconds. I believe they only played together. So, again, Luka, 13, 2 boards, 4 assists. He was 3 of 5 from 3 and looked good shooting the 3 ball, but did look a step slow. Otherwise, when it came to his driving and things like that, probably still working himself back into game shape, which is to be expected when you have a short off season, a short training camp. Next was Tim Hardaway Jr., who did not have as good a night. He had 6 points, 2 boards, and an assist. He was 2 of 9 from the field and 1 of 6 from 3. He looked very rusty, and he looked almost out of place. I think Jay Rich was doing a lot of the things that Hardaway does and then some, and Hardaway ended up kind of trying to find his way. He took more shots than Richardson and accomplished less with those shots. It made me raise the question of, if Hardaway's not hitting, then what is he actually doing on the court for us? I don't know. We know that him coming off the bench, not playing with Luka, has not been a good thing historically. So it feels like he's probably going to stay in that starting lineup, but you have to wonder how many of those games where he can't hit are there going to be, and how is that going to affect us? as far as winning basketball games. And it could balance out. Hardaway could have a good game and Richardson's not hitting, or Richardson could have a good game and Hardaway's not hitting. Maybe having two of those guys out there gives us more wiggle room as far as that goes. We'll see. I don't want to make any big statements yet. Let's see. Richardson, 9 points, a board, assist, and a steal. He was 3 for 6 from the field. All his field goals were three-pointers, so he was 3 of 4 from 3. He looked good. The shot looked great. All his looks were wide open, and he was ready to fire when the ball got to him. I think he's going to love playing with Luka. I think Luka's going to love playing with him. I enjoyed him being able to run the offense some. I think he just has more to his game than Tim Hardaway Jr. does. You can say what you want about Hardaway's three-point percentage last year. Historically, they've shot about the same. And if we are giving Hardaway's percentage credit to Luka for the Luka effect, then we have to expect that Richardson is probably close to, if not just as good a shooter. Again, I think he's a better long-term piece. So when the season is up, if they're choosing between the two, I think Richardson is well on his way to securing his spot as that guy. Next was Dorian Finney-Smith. He started at the 4, which immediately annoyed me. Don't know why you would start Dorian Finney-Smith and Dwight Powell as your bigs against Giannis Antetokounmpo, who is one of the biggest and strongest guys in the NBA. Don't know who's supposed to be guarding him in this scenario and be effective with it. DFS finished with 3 points, 5 boards, 2 assists. He was 1 of 2 from 3, and that's where his 3 points came from. He committed 4 fouls in those 16 minutes. I just don't think it's necessary to be playing him any minutes at the 4. I can't think of a scenario where that makes sense anymore. It's not necessary. I wish Rick would stop. We have James Johnson. We have Maxi. Obviously, when KP's healthy, we have him there. We have. I don't know. We haven't seen Wes Iwundu, so I can't be mad at Wes Iwundu maybe getting some of that time. But we have other guys that can do it. Is my point, especially against Giannis Antetokounmpo, that he's not the guy that needs to be on the court in that scenario. And then finally, Dwight. Dwight had 5 points and 6 boards. He was 2 for 5 from the field, 0 for 1 from 3. He was completely destroyed by Giannis. I know, right? Who wouldn't be? We'll get to that in a second. This lineup was completely garbage in the paint. We allowed a ton of rebounds. Fortunately, the Bucks weren't hitting. Drew had a pretty terrible night shooting from deep. Giannis decided to practice his three-point shot a lot in the first half. Fortunately, or he would have just been dunking on Dwight and Dorian Finney-Smith's heads the entire first half. He ended up with 23 in the first half, being guarded by those two, and it really could have been 40 if he wanted it to be, just based on what I saw from those guys. Moving to the bench, and Carlisle did draw some pretty clear lines, I believe, with his rotations and the minutes that people got. So, again, all the starters played 16 minutes and about 20 seconds. All the guys, these next 4 guys off the bench who I think are solidly there as the next wave of guys. If you bring KP back, that will be our 10 with these next 4 guys, plus the 5 that I mentioned that we're starting. First was Jalen Brunson. These guys all played 16-12, so 8 seconds less than the starter. So Jalen Brunson in his 16-12, 10 points, 2 boards, 4 assists, and a steal. He was 3 for 6 from the field. He looked great running the second unit. Again, glad to see him healthy again. I think he's your stable backup point guard. Did what he was supposed to do. You can't really ask for more from him. Secondly, Trey Burke. Was Bubble Burke back? Yes. Didn't hit like crazy, wasn't going off for 30 or anything like that, but did have 9 points. He had a board, 2 assists, and a steal, 4 for 8 from the field. Just 1 for 4 from 3, but he was aggressive, which is what we want from him. It was what we didn't always get from Seth. So he's filling that Seth role as the scorer off the bench, and I think we're going to be happy with him in that role. Next was Josh Green, and he was one of the guys I was more excited to see, and again, excited to see what Rick did with him. I was hoping that he was in that second group, and he clearly was. He only had 4 points, 1 rebound, 2 assists, and a steal, and he was 2 for 7 from the field, 0 for 1 from 3. Immediately, it was very clear that he was nervous out there, but you can just, again, see the talent oozing off of him. There were a few drives off the bounce where he left his man frozen like they were standing in cement. He got baseline a couple times in places I didn't think he could. He was active, hustling, playing great defense on and off the ball. Awareness was there. There were no lapses as far as that goes. There were a couple times when he drove and forced a pass or attempted an awkward layup, but I think, again, that goes back to him being nervous, and I think by the middle of the season or so, those are going to end up being dunks. The future for him is definitely bright. I'm glad he's going to get real rotation minutes right away. It was a beautiful thing to see. I'm very excited about Josh Green. I'm curious to see how he looks the next game after he gets to look at some film, realize the little mistakes he made, and hopefully takes his game up a notch. And then finally, the fourth guy out of that bench core, Maxi Kleber. Finished this game with 13 points and 7 boards, 3 of 5 from 3. The rest of his points were off in the line, 4 for 4. Fortunately, Bubble Maxi stayed in the bubble. Hopefully that continues to be the case. I think he's taking care of his woman issue. So I think Maxi's going to be okay, and we need him to be okay, especially if KP is going to be out for a few weeks. I think he should have started instead of DFS. I think he made that very clear when the second half came about, and he started out on Giannis, and Giannis could not do anything with him. Giannis was forced into mid-range jumpers. When he tried to drive on him, it was unsuccessful. Maxi took a charge on him. They challenged it. They failed. Just doing his job. The Wurzburg wall was back. I got to break out the meme. And again, Maxi's ability to play that type of defense against a guy like Giannis and then also hit his shots on the other end is what makes him such a valuable piece. And again, while KP is out, he's going to be expected to do more than normal. I think 13 and 7 and 16 minutes is going a long way towards that. That's translating out to about a 25-point game, 25 and 13 or 14 rebound game, and if he played regular minutes. So, and again, clamped up Giannis, frustrated him in that second half. Giannis even at one point when Maxi stopped him, actually stopped to help Maxi up. And that's a sign of respect. When you're clamping somebody and they still help you up off the floor, that's a sign of respect. Next, we go to guys who were just a tier behind them as far as minutes went, and it's actually the 3 other main rookies, the other 2 draft picks, and the first guy we signed as an undrafted free agent. So, first one I have to hit, and I hate to do it to y'all because I know y'all love this man. Tyrell Terry, 5 points, 1 board, 1 assist, 1 steal. He was 1 for 6 from the field, 1 for 3 from 3. I'm honestly not that worried about the shooting. I know he can shoot. That is not in question at all. However, everywhere else on offense, he looked either lost or disinterested. Might have been some nerves there, of course. But, I mean, this goes back to what I said after I watched a game of him, is that I don't see a lot of NBA-ready ability outside of his ability to shoot the ball. He can run off screens, catch and shoot, but as far as, like, running an offense, setting up plays, taking over a game in that type of way, I just don't think it's there yet. And that's fine. There's no problem with that. I never expected that from him. I just don't want all the Terry Hype Train people to be disappointed when those things don't occur. I think he's going to benefit heavily if he gets to spend some time with the G League versus sitting at the end of the bench. Because, again, people were talking about him supplanting Jalen Brunson. I just don't think he has enough ball handling, IQ as far as a passer, things like that. I just don't see it there yet. I think he's a guy who is going to take a little while to develop. I think that the Mavs knew that when they drafted him. The next guy who was drafted was Tyler Bay. Bay had 4 points and 2 blocks. He was 2 for 5 from the field, 0 for 1 from 3. When you were watching Bay, if you squinted, you might have thought you saw Sean Marion back. He looked good, and he looked like a guy that would be ready to fill a role in the rotation if we end up with, foul trouble, injuries, COVID situation. I believe he's a guy who can plug in for 10 minutes and give us, some good defense, some activity, and put the ball in the hole if he's in position to. I don't think he's taking over the game, taking over the world, but I think he can hold down his position right away. So, again, another good young asset. And then the third guy, again, my boy Nate Hinton. And all these guys played the same amount of minutes, by the way. Terry, Bay, and Hinton all played about 15 and a half minutes. Hinton, 8 points, 8 boards, 4 assists, and a steal. He was 3 of 6 from the field, 1 of 2 from 3. 3 of those 8 boards were offensive, and he did lead the team in offensive rebounds. DFS had 2 in his minutes. But the kid is all heart, all hustle. I said it after the draft that the Mavs went and loaded up on DFS type guys. When I say that, I mean DFS is a hustle guy, and I think Hinton is another hustle guy. I also think he might have more to his game. So I was telling someone on Twitter that he's just a guy that's going to exploit any laziness or lack of polish in the other team. If you don't box him out, if you're not paying attention after you grab a rebound, he's going to take advantage of that, poke the ball away, things like that. If you turn your head on defense, he's going by you, or he's driving to set up a guy for a pass. He does it all. I think that scouts might have gotten caught up trying to figure out what position he was, and his position is just hooper. Point blank, period. He is a basketball player. You put him on the court, positive things happen. You saw some playmaking from him. You saw ball handling. You saw his ability to put the ball on the floor. You saw him flying all over the place for rebounds. You saw him playing passing lanes and getting his hands on the ball. I really hope he's in Dallas for a long time. I don't think everybody there was a lot of overreaction to Nate Hinton, but when you look at what he does, he's not always going to have that type of production, but when you look at what he does, it's very clear he's the type of guy you want on your team. He just makes things happen. Again, I'm here for Nate Hinton. I would not be surprised if he's not on a two-way contract and is on a full contract before the season is up. Going deeper into the bench, and, we're going to do this because it's preseason. Normally, we wouldn't be 15 players deep, but here we are. Wundu and Boban played 9.5 or 9:45. Wundu, 2 points, 2 boards, 3 assists, and a steal. Again, another live body. He actually showed me more game with the ball in his hands than I was expecting from him. I'm not sure if there's a real rotation spot for him, but again, foul trouble, COVID, whatever, I think he's another wing we could throw out there and expect him to hold it down. Boban, in his 9 minutes and 46 seconds, gave us 9 points, 5 boards, and an assist. Always appreciate Boban. He got it done per usual. And again, you just have to hope that Rick is ready to throw him in there when we need that big body presence. The next guy on our list is Willie Cauley-Stein. He played 8.5 minutes. 4 points, 5 boards, and a steal. 2 for 4 from the field. He did take and miss a 3. He actually put the ball on the floor for one of his jumpers, and he looked good doing it, in my opinion. Second one maybe not as pretty, but the first one looked good. There was a lot of talk about him. Well, you know what? I think I got a question about it, so I'll save that. But I like what I saw from Willie. I think that if we were looking at this from a 2K standpoint, he's, I think, clearly better than... He can do more than Dwight Powell is what I'll say. He has more to his game than Dwight Powell. And it's probably going to frustrate people that Dwight Powell is playing more than him. And I wonder if that's going to change long term, but we will see. James Johnson, 3 points, 2 boards, and an assist. He played about 7 minutes and 40 seconds, broke a sweat. Did make a couple of good physical plays inside. Again, he adds to our depth and versatility. And then finally, the Frisco kids played 5 minutes and 42 seconds. Gillespie had 2 points and a board. He looks like a good modern big, not tall, but solidly built. He's mobile, has very long arms. I do hope he gets some good time in Frisco. And again, if he's called upon, I hope he's ready to step up. Patterson is a guy who I don't know a ton about at all. He did hit a 3, and he got an assist. And again, we know these two are definitely going to Frisco, so best of luck to them in their development. And again, they're guys that are going to be available if disaster strikes and we have to go deep into our bench situation. That pretty much sums up the box score situation. I'm at about 21 minutes on this segment. I'm timing it because I got some questions here, and I'm debating on if I'm going to add certain segments to this, but we'll see. We'll take another quick break, and then we'll come right back with the questions you guys sent me. Okay, so actually, before we move to the questions, I'm going to do a couple of new segments. Now, again, this was for people who did the survey, gave me some feedback on some things they want to see. One of those things is the player of the game. So, as far as player of the game, I'm going to cheat. I'm going to do player of the game and rookie of the game. So, player of the game, I'm giving to Maxi. 13-7, tied Luka for the lead in scoring, led the team in rebounding, and he locked up Giannis in the second half. I was glad to see my boy back in action and looking like he's ready to fill that KP void as best as possible to start the year. And then the rookie of the game, I got to give to Hinton. He looked like he belonged out there. The draft picks looked nervous, but Hinton looked like a 5-year vet going into his contract year. I guess he technically is on a contract year. Pay that man now. And then finally, the other segment I wanted to do real quick, tweet of the night. So initially I was gonna go with a tweet from ES Deeb, and that's DEIB, who sent me the animated Kleber in Time, which is a play on the Things Clobber in Time, where they basically built Maxi into the Thing's body. And it's a play off of my Wurzburg Wall nickname for Maxi. So that was going to be my tweet of the night, but then Nate Hinton happened. And so now I gotta run. I didn't want to pick one. There were so many great Nate Hinton overreactions. So Nate Hinton overreactions are my tweet of the night. I'm going to run down a few of them. Let's see what we got. Let's see. Oh, man, I got to find them. Where are they at? Everybody's got these cute little... Let's see. Oh, man, a whole bunch of notes. I'm mad. I thought this would be easier. I just searched his name. Here we go. Give Nate Hinton the max. Nate Hinton should have been drafted. He plays with... Oh, hold up. Let me give names. R_DZ23 said give Nate Hinton the max. Glenn Jr. 1988. Nate Hinton should have been drafted. He plays with all out effort. Averaged 8 rebounds a game in college. Someone said his floor is Marcus Smart without all of the flopping. The sky is the limit for him. And actually, that was Panda Hank, who's calling himself Nate Hinton fan account. Panda Hank 41 is the @. Let's see. James D. Grambo, the homie, said the Nate Hinton hype is cool, but we can't have him playing NBA minutes with Luka on the floor and taking his rebounds. And that is a joke for the people that think that Luka has to get all the rebounds and that the Mavs somehow want that to be a thing. I don't know how people, whatever. Let's see. Oh, man. Come on, give me some more. I'm going to give it 5 seconds. If I can't find something in 5, here we go. Mavs Marie said Nate Hinton should get a permanent roster spot immediately. What else we got? Mavs Facebook said Nate Hinton is gunning for someone's roster spot. And yeah, we're going to let that go. The rest of them are just people saying that he's great. So, yeah. Nate Hinton, all the Nate Hinton overreactions. There were plenty more. And then some appropriate reactions as well. So, let me see here. All right. So, Nate Hinton tweets were the tweets of the night. And so let's get into these questions. I'm killing time now, right? So the questions, there were a few. Thank you all who reached out. So first of all, my man, Tall Traveler 1 said, how are you doing? Are you doing good? I'm great, man. Thank you for asking. I just finished my 4th class for this master's program I'm in. So I am done with the core stuff, except for like the capstone at the end. So I'm done with the core stuff. I'm about to get into some the real stuff starting in February. But 2 months off from schoolwork is going to be fantastic. So yes, I'm doing swimmingly. My guy Mike Barra 11 decided to be an asshole and ask my thoughts on LaMelo's first game with a gigantic LOL, knowing that I could not watch the game because the game was blacked out since I'm local for Charlotte. And the other option would have been to watch it on Fox Sports South, but YouTube TV is currently in some sort of dispute with Fox Sports, so I don't have access to that either, and I will not be able to watch any Charlotte Hornets basketball because of that. And we can't go to games, so I can't even go to a game. So that's fantastic. I need them to figure that out. Whatever negotiations need to happen expeditiously, or we're gonna have some real problems, some very real problems. The NBA's got to be disgusted by this situation, and in a panoramic, or a Pan-African, a Pan-Flute, you can't be having people not able to watch their teams. That's just not gonna work. Like, the Charlotte Hornets aren't even my team, and I'm stressed about it. So they got to fix that. Next question, and this is actually, I'm going to combine a couple questions here. So Isaac Appelt, we're going to call it Isaac Appelt. I don't know why I struggle with that name. Realistically, which rookie or rookies do you think will be in the Mavs 10-man rotation this year? And then Osu King said, which rookie do you think will have the biggest impact this year? I'm combining those two because I think the answer is easily Josh Green. I think he's already in that 10-man rotation. I think we saw that tonight. And I don't think that he's capable of doing enough bad things to fall out of that rotation. The guys that are veterans that are behind him are not good enough to push him out. If anything, Nate Hinton might have stepped up and claimed some minutes if somebody starts to slip. But I think Green is the easy answer. I think he's definitely going to be in that rotation. I think next, in a couple days, I guess Monday, we'll see him again. I think that he'll be much more confident, and you'll start to really see what he's capable of for this team. Next question is from Sammy SAMI _ Dabab. Is Nate Hinton better than Donovan Mitchell? Yes or yes? No, he's not better than Donovan Mitchell quite yet, but the potential is there. Shh, don't tell nobody. Young Onyx said, can Nate Hinton work his way into the rotation? He looked good. I think he can. I don't know if it's going to take an injury. I don't know if it's going to take a COVID situation or what, but I think at some point Rick is going to be forced to play him, and he's going to do things like he did tonight, and it's going to be very clear that he's a rotation guy. Again, I really like the kid. I had him he was on my board. I didn't know he came out of the draft. Like, I saw the alert that Nate Hinton was signing with the Mavs, and I was like, wait, what? And I went back and checked, because what I had done, I was scouting up through March of this year, and then I decided to retire from the game when I went back to school. And but I had over 100 players scouted. So before the draft, I went and figured out who was in and who was out. For some reason, I thought he had stayed in school because he was a sophomore. I thought he went back to Houston. I thought he was still in school. So I had moved him over to my 2021 list, and I took players from where I had them on my, I had a running list up through March of guys that I liked, run through 100 or whatever the case was. And I had him in my top 25 or so for this year. Now, that was probably going to change after I started watching a lot more guys. There were a lot of top guys I didn't watch. But because I assumed he had stayed, I transferred him over to my sheet for next year, and I kept him in that first round range. Just because I watched him multiple times with Houston, and he just looked like an NBA guy. So I was ready for him to be a first round pick next year. He came out, saw the Mavs got him. That was how I found out that he had come out. And so, yeah, we got pretty much 4 guys that, in my opinion, long-term, considering if he had stayed another year at Houston, I think he could have been a first-round pick for sure. And we basically got 4 guys that are first-round type talents with Terry, Bay, Hinton, and Josh Green. So we cleaned up. I mean that literally. I don't think the Hinton reaction is overreaction necessarily. I think that keep an eye on it, because he didn't do anything that I have never seen him do. This is what he does. So I think maybe a good comparison for him, off the top of my head, I want to say Corey Brewer. Young Corey Brewer. Just a glue wing who does a little bit of everything. He's not going to be elite scoring or anything like that, but he does everything. Meet Dabiner. Wow. He said, why is Coach going to start Powell over Willie? Because Powell is tenured, and he knows the offense, and he knows what he's going to do. So Rick is going to stick with his guy. And also, Powell may know where the bodies are buried. That's part of the running theories on why he's paid the way he is and why he is playing so much. So I have to believe that it's more about Powell's comfort with the system over Willie's. The talent is, apparently, in my opinion, clearly in Willie's favor. Maybe there's some slight, I won't say slight, maybe there's some IQ difference, or maybe it's just the fact that Powell's just more familiar with the offense right now. I would love to see Willie work his way ahead of Powell in the rotation over the course of the season as things go along. But of course, if he's not in the right spots, if he's missing rotations, then maybe he doesn't need to have those minutes. I did see a couple plays tonight where he wasn't in position to stop somebody going to the rim, and it kind of annoyed me, because that's one of the places where I think he could really cement the fact that he's a different player than Powell, is if he makes a couple of those late rotation blocks or gets in the way for a guy going to the rim, because we know Powell's not doing that. Last question is from Cody McCain, who asked me, who loses the most minutes when KP returns? And then he also asked any chance that Rick goes 10 to 12 deep in the rotation in the regular season. I could definitely see him going 10 deep in the rotation, just based on the construction of our team, the fact that we're probably going to have some guys in foul trouble and stuff like that, and just how similar a lot of these guys are talent-wise. Like, if you looked at the 2K ratings, I'm not looking at the 2K ratings, but if you look at them in a 2K rating scale, they're all within a couple points of each other, most likely. So you can kind of plug and play, mix and match guys. If a certain matchup didn't go the way he thought, he can change out a different guy in the second half or the next time or whatever. So I think we're easily going to play 10 to 12 guys almost every night. And then as far as who's going to lose the most minutes when KP comes back, that is actually a very difficult question. I want to say Powell, because I feel like they're going to play the crap out of Powell while KP is out. And I feel like he's the most easily moved out guy. I think it could also tremendously affect Willie Cauley-Stein based on how they're doing him right now, because he may end up like not playing at all again like he was last year. So it's going to be something to watch for sure. I'm a huge proponent of playing KP and James Johnson together, and then Maxi and Dwight together, or Maxi and Willie Cauley-Stein together off the bench. But we'll see. Rick is definitely going to annoy me with the lineups. I'm very aware of that already. I already know. I know it's coming, and I'm okay with that. I will not get too high or too low based on what the rotations look like. And so finally, there was one other segment I considered doing, but I just want to keep these tight. I want to keep it under an hour. So I'm going to leave you with a parting thought. Early in the game, Giannis was shooting threes, and D Harp said, he's got to have that shot in his arsenal, blah, 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 blah. A couple plays later, he bodied Dwight Powell and dunked the ball. And D Harp contradicted himself, saying that if you can do that, you don't need to hit threes. Well, we know he can do that, D Harp. We know he can do that. That is where his bread is buttered. That is what makes him an MVP. That is what makes him one of the most dominant players in the league. His ability to score from the free throw line in. His athleticism, his quickness, his ability to get places where a guy shouldn't be able to get with his long limbs. And he showed great touch tonight also, by the way. He was doing like a lot of finger roll action. And he showed a turnaround fadeaway. Like, those are the things that need to be in his package. He does not need a three-point shot. He doesn't need that. He doesn't need it. He doesn't need it. I don't care about this modern basketball BS. He is the strongest, most athletic player in the NBA right now. Why would you limit him by making him shoot three-pointers? You take away all of his advantages on the basketball court. If he's working from the free throw line in, he's getting fouled. He's getting the other team in foul trouble. He's getting their bigs off the court. That's a positive impact on the game. People want to look at points. What about the other parts of the game? If he's putting pressure on the rim, he's collapsing the defense. The people who can actually shoot the ball are going to be more wide open. He's going to, again, have people in foul trouble. He's going to have easy buckets at the rim. He's going to expend less energy than he's expending when he has to dribble, bring the ball up the court, or drive to the rim from the three-point line. He should be working free throw line distance, mid-range paint, and in. He should have a mid-range jumper. Cool, that's fine with me. He should be able to have a mid-range jumper. But as far as extending his range out to the three, I don't think it's necessary. It annoys me to watch him throw up those awkward-looking three-pointers. Now, if he wants to hit one here and there to keep the D honest, fantastic. But I don't want to see him shooting 4 or 5 threes a game. He's taking away his physical advantages. And that's my rant for today. I appreciate you guys joining me. Mavs basketball is back, and I'm out. Peace.